Hey guys, it's Justin Betters coming at you with a look at this week's games, NFL and college. I'm going to cover them both. Um, let's get to it.
Earphones a little bit. Hey freak, pay me a masterpiece. Yeah.
So tonight we're going to start with the NFL. We're going to start with the Raiders-Ravens games. I've got the Ravens minus 9.5. I've got the Cowboys minus 6.5 against the Saints. I've got the I've got the Seahawks minus 3.5 against the Patriots. I've got the Chargers minus 6.5 against the Panthers. The Panthers got one of their best defenders was hurt. They didn't look good against New Orleans. So I think it's going to be another struggle year for the Panthers. Maybe the second half of the year they might try to turn something on, but early on it doesn't look good. You got the Colts minus 3 against the Packers because Jordan Love's still out. I've got the Niners minus 6 against the Vikings. The Niners are probably, as of last week, I mean, they're one of the best teams in football. They've been one of the best teams for the last 3 or 4 years. But they looked really sharp week 1. A really good game that I think is going to be between the Buccaneers and the Lions. And I'm going to take the Bucks plus 7. Jets and the Titans will play. I think the Jets will look better because they're not going to be up against that defense of the 49ers. So I'm going to take them minus the 3.5. The Browns and the Jaguars. Browns didn't look good against the Cowboys. The Jaguars look really good against Miami. Jaguars wound up losing a close one. I'm going to take the Jaguars minus the 3. The Giants and Commanders, probably the 2 worst teams this year besides the Panthers. I mean, the Giants and the Commanders did not look good in week 1, either one of them. But I'm going to take the Commanders minus the 1.5. And I think Daniels will score a couple touchdowns. Rams and Cardinals. Cardinals look really good against the Bills. The Rams look really good against the Lions. Both wound up, the Bills came back win, and the Lions came back and win against the Rams. But I'm going to take the Rams plus the 1.5. And then you've got the Bengals and the Chiefs. The Bengals did not look good at all against New England. The Chiefs look good against Baltimore. Jamar Chase will have a week of practice with Burrow, and Snead is out for Kansas City, so I think it's going to be a lot closer game. But I'm still going to take the Chiefs minus the 5.5. I think it'll be inside, maybe a 6-point game. Steelers and Broncos. I'm going to take the Steelers minus 3. I just don't see their offense, the Broncos' offense matching up against Watt. He's a man on a mission. Next, we got the Bears and Texans. I'm going to take the Texans minus 6.5. And then the Falcons and the Eagles. I'm going to take the Eagles minus the 6.5. Thursday night game picks for the NFL. I think Miami's going to win at the 2.5. So Miami minus the 2.5. So when it comes to the NFL, I think it's another good week. There's a couple of really good matchups there. I think it'll be a very entertaining week. But those are my picks. Hey guys, I want to thank you guys for watching. Just always remember to like, subscribe, hit that bell for notifications. And I'll try to bring you as much content as I can, as often as I can. Thank you guys for watching. When it comes to college football, we've got a couple interesting matchups this week. Alabama goes to Wisconsin. I think it's the first time ever, maybe. I don't ever remember it in my lifetime. Doesn't mean it didn't happen, but it's not a game I remember happening anytime soon. And basically, Wisconsin's been unimpressive this year. Bama, I think, has too much offense for Wisconsin, and I think an 11 a.m. kickoff will help Alabama. Most people don't like those early kickoffs. Most home teams don't like those early kickoffs. So I've got Bama winning 35-14. Next, it's LSU and South Carolina. LSU goes to South Carolina at 11 a.m. It's noon South Carolina time. South Carolina is probably one of the best environments at home anytime. So it's going to be a tough game. Now, South Carolina looked so much better last week than they did against Old Dominion. They looked really good against Kentucky. I'm still not sold on South Carolina's defense or South Carolina's offense against LSU's defense, but then I'm like, I'm really not sold on LSU's defense either. So I think it's going to be a pretty high scoring game, but I'm going to say South Carolina is going to win the home game, and they're going to win 31-28. Um, I just feel like the environment and LSU just hasn't. They didn't look good last week. They looked good against USC, but they played Nichols. Didn't look very good. It'll be a close game either way. Next is A&M in Florida. It's 2:30 kickoff at the Swamp. A&M's 4.5-point favorite. Over under 47. A&M has probably got the more talented team. I think Florida has a lot of talent. Their talent's young. Don't know if Lagway is going to play. Don't know if it's going to be him or Mertz. But Lagway looked really good against Samford, but he looks like he will be the future for that program. The problem is Florida hadn't showed us anything this year, but it's a tough place to play, and I think A&M wins, but I think Florida covers. I think A&M is going to win a close one, 31-28. I really don't think either of these teams are that far apart. You haven't really seen much from any of them. Yeah, Texas A&M looked pretty good against Notre Dame, but Notre Dame comes out and loses to Northern Illinois, and I know it doesn't necessarily translate that way. That well, they lost to Northern Illinois. That means Northern Illinois is better than they are. It doesn't work that way in college football. I understand that, but A&M just hasn't really looked good. Florida's probably looked worse. They both beat up on some teams last week, but that's like Arkansas when we beat UAPB. What did we prove? Nothing. So like I said, I think A&M 31, Florida 28. Close game. It's going to be closer than the 4.5 the spread. Next game we're going to talk about is the backyard brawl. It's Pittsburgh and West Virginia. It is in Pittsburgh. The over/under is 63, and the spread is West Virginia minus 1.5. So it's almost a pick'em game. It is the kickoff at 2:30. I just don't trust Pitt. Pitt hasn't looked good this year at all. They struggled against Cincinnati last week. They came back and won the game, but I don't think Cincinnati's that good of a program this year. West Virginia, yeah, they look bad against Penn State, and then it makes it even look worse because Penn State struggled against Bowling Green. But I think Green gets it going. I think West Virginia comes out and wins this game 30-27. Close game because it's a huge rivalry up there. But I think West Virginia wins and covers the 1.5. Last game to talk about, of course, is Arkansas UAB. Heartbreak last week for us. But just from what I've heard from the press conferences I've watched, the players, they seem to be owning their mistakes. They want to flush it and move on, which is what you're supposed to do. And we'll see if that happens. We're favored by, I think, 24.5. It might have changed this morning. I think it changed to 25. But there's no reason we can't beat UAB by 4 touchdowns. With the offense we've been running, we should be able to beat UAB by 4 touchdowns. Anything less than 4 touchdowns, in my opinion, is not good enough. It's not good enough to be the team that we want to be. So I think Taylor Green should have another 300 yards passing, have multiple touchdowns. I think that Jackson should have another game over 100 yards, multiple touchdowns. I think our receivers, we're doing a good job spreading it out, but we need a receiver to make a play. And we've got to get special teams. Like, we can't be running into the receiver on the punt. Like, we've got to get special teams fixed. We need to find someone who can kick. There's certain things that we need to see this game. Yeah, you don't want to be held to a field goal against UAB, but maybe we do need to kick a field goal because we need to make sure this guy gets his confidence back. I think Birmingham, with Trent Dilfer, I think they're going to be prepared and they're going to be ready, but I just don't think they're going to have the athletes to match up. And I think Arkansas wins this game 49-60 or to 21. So I think we're going to cover, and I think we're going to go over. So that's how I feel about these games. I also got just some quick Saturday picks. Like I said, these might change. I'll come back on Saturday And if something's changed, I'll shoot a quick out or a short. Check my shorts; they come out most game days. I'll produce a short, so check them out because things do change, like the line and injuries, things like that. And that's college and NFL. I try to get one out before the game, at least an hour, sometimes two, before the game kicks off. But I think Arkansas, you take them minus the 25. I think you take Texas minus the 35.5. They're playing University of Texas San Antonio. Texas looks really good. I think this is another game where Archmania is going to get some reps. UTSA is crazy because they've been so good over the past couple of years. I mean, with Jeff Traylor, he's got that program going in such the right direction. But then, they got whooped by Texas State. And I mean, Texas State's supposed to be good this year, but I mean, they got whooped by them. Next, you've got Georgia. And I forget who Georgia's playing, but they're a 24.5 point favorite. Let's take Georgia in the 24.5. Washington's playing Washington State. They're a 5.5 point favorite. I think you take Washington in that one. The battle for the Apple Cup, I do believe. Backyard Ball, already talked about West Virginia minus 1.5. Minus 1.5 is the way you're going to go there. Ole Miss, I think they play another small school. I've got Ole Miss winning by 23.5. So I'm going to take Ole Miss in the points, or minus the points. And then I've got Minnesota minus 17, and I forget who they're playing. But Minnesota minus the 17. I'm going to put an asterisk next to that one because that line has been moving. So that might be one that I come back on Saturday and talk to you about. But right now I'm comfortable with them at the 17. So that's what I got for college. I want to thank you guys for watching. And as always, y'all have a good
And I came from a purgatory flame. If you heard the story, you call me derogatory names, but for now we'll call it awful, cause it's allegory game for that all alluring dollar when you follow glory fame. Used to drink myself to sleep, now I drink and don't sleep at all. I've been climbing to the top, if you blink you won't see the fall. I recall in the brawl with the law.